The chase for the 5th annual Hersheys Cup Series Championship continues on here at the Yard of Bricks, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our first elimination race of the season, in which we will be determining which 12 drivers will be moving on in the playoffs and which 4 drivers will have their playoffs come to a very early end. Getting ready here tonight for the running of the Brantley Gilbert Big Machine Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a very famed and historical racetrack, and it has brought about some very exciting racing in the past couple of years. It's, I believe, the 3rd time that it has been an elimination race here in the chase for the championship, and it always seems to play a huge factor. Sometimes it seems to surprise us as well. We're going to have to see who's going to be moving on and who is not. Coming into this race, there are 2 drivers we know for absolute certainty are going to be moving on. They won the first 2 playoff races of the season. Our Chicagoland race winner, Joshua Michaels, and our winner last week at Bristol Dirt, Dylan Young. They will be moving on to the round of 12 regardless of what happens here at Indianapolis. Another driver that could very well find himself in a move-on situation as well is Charles Sanford, because he comes into this race as the points leader, and he comes into this race as well with a 52-point gap between himself and 12th in the point standing. So Charles Sanford may have ended up being the only driver, points-wise, coming into this race that has locked himself into the next round of the playoffs. To put it in perspective, he's even ahead of drivers like Dylan Young and Joshua Michaels, who have wins so far in this round. But for the rest of the drivers, they're going to have to rely on stage points and good finishes here tonight if they're going to stay inside the top 12, as well as if they're going to move into the top 12. Our 3 rookies that made it into the playoffs are actually in 3 of the 4 cutoff positions right now. Alex Drayton in 13th, K Shearer in 15th, and Caleb Farrell in 16th, along with Cole Baker currently in the 14th position. However, they're not too far out of being able to move back into the top 12 in points. Right now, the cut line is currently held by 12th in the points, Dallas McIntosh, but he's only 2 points ahead of Alex Drayton, 10 points ahead of Cole Baker, 14 points ahead of K Shearer, and 19 points ahead of Caleb Farrell. Any of those deficits can be made up very easily, especially with the aid of stage points here tonight. Some other drivers, though, that are right on the precipice of maybe falling outside of the top 12 in points include Jessica Shelton and Daniel Gilbert. They are both a total of only 1 point ahead of Dallas McIntosh coming into tonight's race. Also, G Sydnor, Trent Dunham, Anthony McCrury, Sean Gallighan. A poor night for them could put them outside the cut line as well.
Start your engines!
Command given. It's time to get these cars rolling off. Is on the front row a couple of drivers hungry to go to victory lane, even though they are not playoff contenders. K Batson looking for his 2nd career win and 2nd of the season. Alongside of him, Levi McIntire, who was a prime contender last week at Bristol for maybe picking up his first win of the season, was unable to do so. Would love to try and do it here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And behind them, you've got J Richardson, who won this season at Indianapolis, but it wasn't enough to get him into the playoffs. And J Baskinger just trying to find victory lane here in the first season that he has not been in the playoffs in his career. Highest starting playoff contender is G Sydnor, rolling off from the 5th position, so we'll see if track position plays a key factor into today's race. And we also document as well that coming into this race as well, we ended up having a Pizza X Series race here yesterday, and that Pizza X Series race had 6 playoff contenders finish behind the wall. That's half of the playoff contenders in that chase. I'm seeing some gaps back there in the field. Some drivers I think have had some issues at the start, including the defending winner of this race, J Gardner in the 55. And I believe he's the only driver there with an issue. Oh my goodness, that's a tough break. Gardner was a 2-time winner last season, and one of those wins came at this very racetrack when he drove the 26 Dodge Dart for Fitzwater Australia Racing, and looks like he will not be able to go back-to-back here in Brickyard wins. He will probably be the first retiree out of the race. That is a tough break for a driver. I'm certain had this race circled on his calendar as a chance of being able to go back to victory lane in what would have been the first time this season for Gardner. Batson, Levi McIntire get ready to bring us down to the green flag. The Brickyard 400 is green. Let's roll. Through turns 1 and 2, Batson running the line that Richardson's running. I don't know if he's blocking the 11 or if the 11 is just riding for the moment. Baskinger slots into third. Teammate Sydnor there into fourth. As they head down here into the most precarious turn of the racetrack, turn number 3. Richardson going to hang on to the second position. Baskinger tried to take the spot, and now the door is left open for Baskinger's teammate Garrett Sydnor to try and go for third. Can't do it. Richardson now has thoughts for the lead as he'll peek to the inside, heading down into 1. And we completed the first lap under green. We ran 6 cautions in last night's Pizza Hut X Series race, and Richardson will take the top position. Driver I noticed back here comes in maybe a very precarious position is Dallas McIntosh in the 14. He is 12th in the points coming into this race. That final position into the round of 12. He had a decent run, top 10 run last week at Bristol Dirt that moved him out of the danger zone up into the top 12, but he needs another good run here to be able to make sure he stays in the top 12 in the points. Drivers, as mentioned, that come in with absolutely no pressure on them. Moving on to the next round, Dylan Young in the 2, Joshua Michaels in the 10. So you got to wonder if we'll see either one of them up towards the front in the closing stages. Maybe try and gamble. Michaels trying to pick up his 4th win of the season. Dylan Young trying to pick up his 2nd. Dylan Poteet finished runner-up at Bristol Dirt last week to Dylan Young. Former winner this season at Phoenix, trying to pick up his 2nd win of the year, battling right now with Levi McIntire for that spot. Battle just ahead of them for 2nd. Keith Batson trying to hold J Baskinger off, and it looks like he did. Now Baskinger falls back into the clutches. Dylan Poteet and Levi McIntire for the 4th and 5th position. Make that 3rd and 4th, rather. Highest running playoff driver, still Garrett Sydnor in the 38. He's currently in the 7th position. Also failed to mention what the stages were coming into this race. It's 15, 15, and 10, so I apologize for that. So playoff contenders battling to try and get up there by the time we get to the completion of lap 15. One of the drivers that came into this race behind the cut line, running up inside the 11th position right now, trying to get 10th from Nathan Hudson. That's Caleb Farrell. He comes in 16th of the 16 playoff drivers. And as I mentioned, he came into this race only a mere 17 points back behind Dallas McIntosh in the standings. So he still mathematically has a chance of getting himself back up inside the top 12 by the time we complete this race. Joshua Michaels there in the 10. On the outside, another driver that also is a cut line driver right now in the danger zone is Alex Drayton. And he's currently up inside the top 15. I believe he's currently scored 13th place. Now 2 drivers that could very well lock themselves up spots in the round of 12. They can at least finish inside the top 20 here today. Are Chris Dodd in the 88, Benjamin Miles in the 25. I already mentioned Charles Sanford has basically locked himself up a spot points-wise, while Chris Dodd and Benjamin Miles can do the same. Both of them came into this race respectively 28 and 24 points ahead of the cut line. And if both can get decent runs, at least inside the top 20, I think they could probably move into the round of 12 very easily with the couple of runs they've had at Chicagoland and Bristol. As Dylan Poteet leading Levi McIntire. Those two have kind of worked together to pick off drivers one by one. They got by Sydnor, they got by Baskinger, and now they've gotten by Keith Batson. As Poteet now moves into the second position. McIntyre to third. B Allan will move to fourth. There was almost a little bit of contact there between a couple of playoff contenders, Dallas McIntosh and J Sydnor. This is actually a battle to see who's going to be the highest running playoff driver on track. Battle for 6th place at the moment. I believe we made history this season already. To my recollection, we have never had the first 2 Hersheys Cup Series playoff races won by playoff drivers. And I believe this was a first. Caution is out! Speaking of firsts, the first yellow flag of the evening, and it's at the completion of lap number 6. So we at least got some green flag racing in. That was nice to see. And as the yellow flag waves, that yellow flag, the question is, does it spell the end of playoff hopes for some of our 16 playoff contenders? This is where we have to take a look and see who was involved to bring out this yellow flag, and it looks like rookie Cody Smart was one of the drivers involved and may have been very well the only driver involved. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if everybody comes to pit road here under this caution, because I think that that green flag run may have set the precedent that this race does have the potentiality of long green flag runs. And these drivers are probably going to want to be able to take advantage of coming to pit road under caution rather than under green while they have the chance. But as they potentially do come to pit road to make these pit stops, we will step aside and take a look at what brought out the caution for the first time here today on lap number 6. Looks like an incident, maybe out of turn number 4. Cody Smart, who's had a very struggling year, was running at the time inside the top 20. He was last time by scored in 16th, and you see Anthony McCrury just drive it too deep into the corner there. Gets this 12 car in the left rear quarter panel. Sends him up into the wall. Fortunately, nobody else got involved in the incident. Everybody else was able to get by. Boy, that was a close call there for a couple of teammates, K Shearer and L Alvarise. If K Shearer had gotten involved and been taken out of this race, I think we could have safely said he was going to be one of the first drivers that was going to get eliminated from the playoffs. So fortunately, just a single car incident there in turn 4 that could have been much, much worse. Puts us under the caution for the first time here tonight at Indianapolis. And absolutely everybody did come to pit road under that caution flag, so we'll watch this battle off pit road between J Richardson and D Poteet. That was pretty close. Richardson's team gets it done, though, and so he'll be restarting as the leader. Poteet comes off in 2nd. McIntosh in 3rd. Looks like McIntyre 4th with Hudson 5th. And you see back there was a little bit of contact. Caleb Farrell with some issue there on pit road. So that's going to have him start a little bit further back than he possibly would have. And then a little bit of contact right there between Brandon Gonzales and J Baskinger as well. But the way they came off pit road's the way they'll restart, and it will be J Richardson out in front. So as we prepare for the restart, we will have 5 laps to go here in the first stage of the day. Right now, on this restart, we have 3 playoff drivers that would restart up inside of the top 10. Dallas McIntosh in 3rd, Chris Dodd in 9th, and J Sydnor in the 10th position. D Poteet restarts 2nd behind the race leader Richardson. McIntyre will be 4th, Hudson 5th, Keys in 6th, Allen 7th, Hartnett there in 8th. A lot of drivers up here, looking particularly at 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th of drivers that are looking for their first win of the season. For Hudson, trying to end a very long winless streak. For Blaine Keys and Levi McIntyre, looking for their first win since last season. McIntyre winning at Lime Rock, Keys winning at M&M's. And for B Allan, looking for her first career win here in the Hersheys Cup Series. Let's document where the rest of your playoff contenders are going to be restarting this race. Caleb Farrell will restart in 11th, Joshua Michaels 13th, Alex Drayton 14th, 15th will be Benjamin Miles, K Shearer in 18th, Trent Dunham back in 23rd, Anthony McCrury in 24th, Shelton is 26th, Daniel Guilbert 27th, Dylan Young in 28th, Charles Sanford back in 32nd, Cole Baker 33rd, and Sean Gallighan restarts in 34th. The driver that brought out the caution, Cody Smart, they got the damage repaired. He's back on the lead lap still in 38th. Last car running, the only driver out of the race, never got to take the green flag, the defending winner, Johnny Gardner. Finished 39th here today is Dallas McIntosh to the inside of Dylan Poteet for the second position. McIntosh realizing that we're getting closer and closer to the end of this stage. Wants those 10 valuable bonus points, those 10 valuable stage points, especially with the fact that he came into this race in that 12th position in the playoff standings. Now got to try and run down James Richardson for the race lead. Levi McIntyre right there, and now the battle's going to be on for the 4th position. Blaine Keys makes a hole to the inside, the Monster Energy Chevrolet of Nathan Hudson. Blaine Keys, the only Sega Motorsports car that is not competing for the championship this season. Also the only Sega Motorsports car this season that doesn't have a trip to victory lane. His two teammates, Dunham and McIntosh, have been to victory lane twice this year. Richardson with a big advantage. Best battle on track. Looks like it may be for the 3rd position. Couple of teammates right there in 5th and 6th. Hudson in the 28. Allen in the 3. Starting to see Chris Dodd there in the 88. Former champion working his way up inside the top 10 now, as well as Joshua Michaels. Like I said, Joshua Michaels and Dylan Young both come into this race completely worry-free of moving on to the next round. How aggressive would they be to try and, maybe pick up another win and get more playoff points towards the championship hunt, as we got a car on pit road, and that is Caleb Farrell in the 95. The rookie who came into this race 16th of the 16 playoff drivers, and they're servicing that race car. The only thing I can possibly think is maybe he had a tire rub. We saw there was contact on pit road with the 95. And that may very well have just taken Caleb Farrell out of the playoff picture. Top 2 have broken away. They're gone. Richardson and McIntosh. Then you got McIntyre in 3rd place. Lane Keys and Brooke Allen all contending for that spot. But it is a long ways up before they get to 2nd place driver Dallas McIntosh, and then even further up before you get to James Richardson. It looks like Farrell now leaving pit road, but he is going to be at least 1 lap down, maybe even 2 laps down if Richardson's able to get around him here. I believe he's already off the lead lap. He is indeed, and now he's going to go 2 laps down to the 11th. So the only thing I think Farrell can possibly hope for right now is if this thing continues to go green, then the leaders will have to probably make a pit stop, and it might cycle around in his favor. We're going to have to wait and see. When they hit the stripe this time, it will be technically the white flag for this first stage, and it looks like Richardson is firmly in control of getting those 10 valuable bonus points. Dallas McIntosh, however, next best thing to 10 bonus points is 9 bonus points. As he currently runs in 2nd, he may have to contend that 2nd position by the time they get back to the start-finish line, though, because Blaine Keys, his teammate, is starting to reel him in. Next time by at the line will be the completion of the first stage. And right now, McIntosh, Michaels, and Dodd are the 3 playoff drivers that are currently inside of the top 10. Chris Dodd actually right now in that 10th position, and he's trying to hold off Brandon Gonzales to be able to keep that 10th position, I believe, in order to get himself at least 1 stage point for the completion of this stage. And Gonzales is going to try and deny him. McIntosh will hold off his teammate Blaine Keys, so Richardson will come down the line. He will win stage 1. McIntosh is going to get 2nd, Keys 3rd, McIntyre 4th, Brooke Allen gets 5th. Michaels crossed the line in 9th, and Chris Dodd did indeed hold off Brandon Gonzales at least to the stripe to get 10th place. So 3 playoff contenders will get stage points here. The first stage, but now Brandon Gonzales not only bypasses Chris Dodd, but also D Poteet, so move him up to, I believe, the 8th position. And of course, we've documented Brandon Gonzales and the winless streak that he's currently on. You've got Nathan Hudson up here, who's on a winless streak. Allen, who's on a winless streak, so big opportunity for some drivers here. And this is the best battle on track, but it's not for the race lead. This is going on almost a full 3 seconds behind J Richardson right now. Dallas McIntosh and Blaine Keys battling for second place. Let's see what the gap is right now between first to second, and it grew by about another 3/10. So Richardson is literally and figuratively running away with this race lead, which kind of surprises me because I would have thought that these drivers running nose to tail, especially on the straightaways, would have produced a lot more straightaway speed than a single car, and would have been able to use this straightaway speed to be able to close up the gap. That apparently is not the case, although there has been an awful lot of side-by-side racing from second on back as well, so maybe that has allowed Richardson to be able to increase the gap. Richardson kind of wasted no time taking the top position from Keith Batson, though, so he showed early that he's got a strong race car, and he has not looked back since. Now we've got kind of two-car tandems going on here, the 14 to 42, the 99 to 3, but it doesn't matter. The caution is out for the second time here tonight at Indianapolis. So every time that Richardson has been able to grow a bit of a gap back to second place, the caution flag comes out and bunches them all back up once again. There's no doubt James Richardson's got the strongest car in this field, so for anybody behind him, they're going to have to try and rely probably on pit strategy or something to try and best that FedEx Toyota Camry. Let's see who brought out this caution, and it's Jessica Shelton along with Cole Baker. That's two playoff drivers right there. Matt Haas, the defending champion's involved as well. Maybe even the 38 of Garrett Sydnor, another playoff contender. And there's also damage on the 25 of Benjamin Miles. We may have had 4 playoff contenders involved in this one. And it looks like Shelton's out of the race, and Baker could very well be out of the race. And just like that, Baker's playoff hopes may be done. And we mentioned Jessica Shelton only came into this race 1 point ahead of the 12th and standings cut line. That could be her playoff done. It's like another incident again out of turn number 4, putting us under this caution as the leaders will hit pit road once again under the caution rather than under the green. So now the question is, who would be the driver that would take advantage of Shelton maybe falling out of the top 12? Would it be K Shearer? Would it be Alex Drayton? Have to wait and see. See Caleb Farrell going by, so he'll be only 1 lap down now to the race leaders unless he decides to come to pit road the next time around after having to make that unscheduled pit stop. And they're going to go at least with left side tires on the FedEx Toyota Camry. Do they go with a full 4 tire? No, they don't, but there's going to be some contact there between himself and Keith Batson. Richardson was leaving, Batson was coming in, and Blaine Keys was going to come out in second. Dallas McIntosh, a very slow stop for the 14, brings him out behind Chris Dodd in third. McIntosh will be fourth with Hartnett in fifth, coming off of pit road. And I don't know exactly how significant that contact we just saw between the 39 and the 11 will be. Seemed to be basically the right rear that sustained the damage there for James Richardson, and we'll have to see if that affects him when we go back green. Let's take a look and see what brought out the caution, though, for the second time here tonight at Indianapolis. Well, here's what happened. Almost the same thing that happened for the first caution between Anthony McCrury and Cody Smart. Watch the 39 of Keith Batson going to drive it deep into the corner. And as Shelton's kind of apexing the corner, Batson takes a different line, and he gets Shelton in the left rear quarter panel. Up and into the wall goes the Mountain Dew Pitch Black 2 Chevy. Pretty hard contact into the wall, and then, unfortunately, she's going to slide back down into the traffic, and, oh man, Tim Walsh got a piece of it there. Cole Baker got a piece as well. The 11, contact there with Trent Dunham in the 1. Tim Walsh's night is over. And looks like everybody else avoided the 0-2. I think the car that's going to get hit is going to be Cole Baker. Right there, contact with the 78 of Matt Haas. And that's going to give him quite a bit of right front damage. So Baker and Shelton, a couple of playoff contenders, get involved in this one. We should also document Benjamin Miles. That damage we saw in the 25 was actually after the pit stops, the first round of pit stops. He made contact with another car. And J Sydnor, also his damage on the right side, came from contact with K Farrell on that first round of pit stops. So that's who the 95 made contact with. So both those cars are a little off the pace and damaged, but they were not involved in an incident on the track. Instead, their damage came from an incident on pit road. But Cole Baker, that may have just sealed the deal for his playoff dreams. I think he will very easily be one of the 4 drivers that will not move on to the round of 12. And Jessica Shelton, who came in very precariously ahead of 12th in the standings, this may have done it for her as well in moving on to the next round of the playoffs. We'll have to wait and see, but right now that looks like that could very well be the case. So now we get to the point of the race where we can start to make assumptions of who are going to be our top 12 drivers, who are going to be the 4 that get eliminated. And right now it looks like 3 of those 4 could very well be Cole Baker, Jessica Shelton, and Caleb Farrell. Caleb Farrell, you see lined up there on the inside line. He is only 1 lap down to the race leaders, but he's going to need a miracle to be able to make it into the next round, as he came in 16th of the 16 playoff drivers. Cole Baker came into this race in an elimination spot, and with his DNF, he will more than likely be eliminated. And Jessica Shelton only came into this race 1 point ahead of Guilbert, or make that Dallas McIntosh rather, who was 12th in points. And McIntosh is having a good run today, so more than likely Shelton will be eliminated from the playoffs here after round 1 as well. Tim Walsh and Matt Haas have also taken their cars back behind the wall. So now the pressure falls to K Shearer or Alex Drayton. Drayton came into this race 3 points behind Shelton. K Shearer came into this race 15 points back. Those are going to be the 2, I think, that are going to battle it out for who's going to make it into the round of 12. A couple of rookies going to decide it for the final transfer spot into the playoffs. Past the halfway point, green flag will come out with 19 laps to go. And we still have roughly 9 laps remaining here in our second stage. The green flag is back in the air for J Richardson. He has been dominant all day, but now a new second place driver behind him in the 42 of Blaine Keys. So let's see if Keys has got anything for the race lead, and he's going to duck to the inside heading into turn number 2. His teammate Dallas McIntosh will slide by for 3rd place on Chris Dodd, and now offers the drafting help to his teammate down the back straightaway. Keys to the lead, McIntosh to 2nd, Hartnett to 3rd. And now here comes McIntosh to the inside, side by side between teammates for the top position. McIntosh can't make it work just yet. And now Hartnett says, all right, if you can't, I'm going to try and bypass you for 2nd place. Hartnett now has to think better of it. Tucks back in line. As McIntosh gets a run down the straightaway. He's going to maybe look to the inside, heading down here into turn 1 on Blaine Keys. Side by side between the Sega Motorsports teammates into turn 1. A lot more battling for the race lead right now going on. These drivers realizing that we are getting closer and closer to the end of this race. McIntosh realizing that another trip to victory lane means he's locked into the next round of the playoffs, plus gets a very valuable playoff point in the reformatted point standings. Hartnett moves into 2nd, now takes a peek for the race lead. Can he get to the left rear quarter panel here in turn 3? Nope, not quite. Nathan Hudson now side by side for 3rd with Blaine Keys. So the gap between Alex Drayton and K Shearer coming into this race was 12 points. So for K Shearer to make it into the round of 12, he needs to finish at least 13 positions ahead of Alex Drayton. Neither one of these rookies have gotten stage points yet today. And right now it doesn't look like either one of them are going to get stage points. unless they can really fight their way up towards the front. Drayton right now running in the 15th position as the caution, I believe, is out. No, it's not. We're still green. He's in 15th. Currently is the 77, which means that he is ahead of K Shearer both in the points and on track. There is Shearer in the 34 car, and he's currently being scored in the 30th position. So K Shearer really needs something to go right for him here. He needs Alex Drayton to have a problem, basically. And I think for everybody else that came into this race top 12 in the point standings, they know they're going to move on to the next round. Dallas McIntosh shows the way, but for how long? Emmanuel Hartnett there in second, right within striking distance. Nathan Hudson third, Blaine Keys fourth, Brandon Gonzales there in fifth. And Hudson got a nice run there out of 2. I thought he was going to take a peek to the inside of Hartnett for second place. Instead, he comes back in line for the moment. And now, Brandon Gonzales is going to look at the inside for fourth place off of Blaine Keys. James Richardson, who dominated this race at the beginning, now finds himself mired back in traffic, currently in 6th, now trying to take 5th away from Keys. And Joshua Michaels looking for his 3rd win of the season, actually I think that his 4th win of the season, rather. As now he's up inside the top 10 there. Going to move by Richardson on the high side, and that'll move him into 6th place. Might have had some contact right there between Brandon Gonzales and Nathan Hudson, as Gonzales, with a very late step out into turn 1, will take 3rd place now. Keys will move to 4th, as I think that kind of surprised Nathan Hudson a little bit. Took him a little off guard. So right now, the man on a mission is the 77 of Alex Drayton. And I think what he's really trying to do at the moment is try to get himself up there into the top 10, get himself some stage points, which would give him a little more of a cushion between himself and K Shearer. Now he gets kicked up the high side and will lose a spot to the 4 of Daniel Guilbert. So as things stand right now, the 4 drivers that would be eliminated from the chase for the championship include Jessica Shelton, Cole Baker, K Shearer, and Caleb Farrell at this current point in time. I think we can safely say that Baker and Shelton will indeed be eliminated. Farrell's going to need a miracle, and K Shearer is going to need the 77 to have some kind of mechanical problem. Brandon Gonzales got around Emmanuel Hartnett for second. That 23 has come alive here late. And of course, we have well documented his over 120 race winless streak. He wants to end it today. He's to the inside of McIntosh for the top position. Who drove it nicely into that corner, nice and deep. He's going to try and stay with the left rear quarter panel of the Cheez-It Chevrolet. Can't do it this time. He's got Nathan Hudson right there behind him, offering drafting help down the front straightaway. I think Gonzales' best opportunity is in 1 and 2, but he may not get that opportunity because Hudson, with a big push from Hartnett, he's going to move to the inside for the 2nd spot. Can't do it. Brandon Gonzales got a nice run on the high side there out of 2, and now he crosses over. Actually, that was out of 1. Now he crosses over in 2 to try and take the top position again from McIntosh. Brandon Gonzales' last win stretches all the way back to Season 2 at Texas. Actually, no, Season 1 at Texas. Ooh, that was close. Almost got into the left rear quarter panel of McIntosh, but that was enough to move McIntosh up the racetrack. And Brandon Gonzales looks like he will take the race lead. Nope. McIntosh battles back on the top side. That top side out of 4 gets a good run. Now it's Hartnett in the Toyota. Take a look at that inside line. You've got Mitsubishi, Toyota, Honda. And Gonzales with that big arrow push into turn 1, back looking for the lead on McIntosh. Gonzales is better in 1 and 2. McIntosh appears to be better in 3 and 4. And what did I mention about Michaels and Dylan Young? Both of them are locked into the round of 12. Regardless of what happens here today, would they be aggressive late? Well, you got Michaels right now in 4th place, and Dylan Young is just about to crack the top 10. There he is. He's currently in the 14th position. So we're starting to see that these two realizing that they can be aggressive now, try and get up there and pick up yet another win this season. Battle for the lead on again, Gonzales and McIntosh, and this might be advantage Gonzales into turn 1. Can he make the pass is the question. McIntosh has been strong on the outside line in 3 and 4, not going to be as strong here in 1 and 2. New leader, the 23. Hartnett going to move into second. As this battle continues, we already mentioned that the defending winner of this race, J Gardner, out of the event, never even took the green flag. Tough break for him. I wanted to look and see who the other former winners were at this track. As a matter of fact, pretty good thing I looked. Guess who won the very first debut race here for the Hersheys Cup Series in Indianapolis? He's running second, Emmanuel Hartnett. So Hartnett knows how to get around this racetrack. In Season 2, as I'm waiting for the page to load, the winner in Indianapolis was Benjamin Miles, who is a playoff contender here, although he is a little bit off the pace after getting some damage from contact on pit road. Season 3, our Indianapolis race winner was K Shearer. That was, of course, when he drove in the Hersheys Cup Series non-charter system, but was able to win a charter race. And of course, last season it was J Gardner. Kind of ironic that one of our 4 former winners at this track is the only one running well, and that's Hartnett in second, as Caleb Farrell's got to come to pit road in the 95. He stayed out a couple laps extra to get himself to 1 lap down, and now has to pit ahead of the race leaders, which says to me that these leaders may have to think about coming to pit road here in the closing stages of this race if we don't have the aid of a yellow flag. But I mean, I know you're not supposed to be partial to any particular driver in these kind of races, but you can't help but want to root for Brandon Gonzales. A driver that coming into this race is running an over 120 race winless streak. You can't help but want Brandon Gonzales to be able to close out this deal. It's the strongest he has looked all season, and he's trying to hang on for what would, amazingly enough, only be his 2nd career win in Hersheys Cup Series competition. Well, he's going to have to hold off a strong, charging Toyota Camry of Emmanuel Hartnett. He closed up the gap big time there into turn 1. Nathan Hudson right there as well. We haven't seen Hudson run victory lane since, I think, Season 2. Hudson's actually running now a 100 race winless streak as well. So, I mean, whether it be Gonzales or Hudson, it'd be great to see either one of these drivers snap their winless streak. We've already seen winless streaks snapped so far this season by Dylan Young, J Richardson, Dallas McIntosh, Cole Baker, K Batson, and Chris Dodd. As Gonzales having difficulty getting around Caleb Farrell, who is on fresher tires. And Baskinger's coming to pit road, giving up the 6th position. So now we're seeing it. Leaders having to come to pit road, not able to make it on fuel, and I believe Baskinger's the only driver that's coming to pit road this time. J Sydnor was just on the pit lane last time around. Now the question is, can the pit crews get it done? The pressure falls on them. You see Sydnor now leaving the pit lane in the 38. Gonzales is going to get by him, but his Hartnett, ooh, boy. Sydnor almost merged right up in front of the 83. That was a close call. Now 2 of the top drivers is going to be coming to pit road this time. We are within 10 laps to go. This is the money stop. Is Gonzales going to pit? No. Hartnett? No. But Blaine Keys is, and that is from 7th. Chris Dodd and J Richardson are also coming to pit road this lap. Gonzales still deciding to stay out. You got to wonder, is anybody going to be willing to risk it? Would anyone want to try and stretch it all the way to the checkers? I mean, right now, I doubt any of the playoff contenders would do that. because right at this moment, I think we can safely say we know the 12 drivers that will move on to the round of 12. They just need to finish the day out where they are at, so why risk it with running out of fuel? But if you're someone like Gonzales or Hartnett or D Poteet, Hudson, Fitzwater, Tellier, who is not competing for the championship, would you try and risk it? Looking off turn 4 to see if anybody's coming to pit road, and nobody's coming to pit road this time. There's Keys, Dodd, and Richardson just now leaving pit road. Trent Dunham actually made a pit stop as well there on that same lap that Chris Dodd, Blaine Keys did. So that's one of our playoff contenders that has come to the pit lane, along with Chris Dodd in the 88. Garrett Sydnor in the 38, so 3 playoff contenders so far have made green flag pit stops. As Brandon Gonzales trying to cut his way here through traffic, but these drivers here are going to be a little bit faster than him due to the fact they've been to pit road, they've got fresher tires. Fresher tires mean faster lap times. Brandon Gonzales to the inside there on Richardson. I think he's coming to pit road. Yes, he is. That turns the race lead over to Emmanuel Hartnett. Dallas McIntosh, D Poteet, Joshua Michaels, and Nathan Hudson are in this lap. Drayton, Batson, Alvarise, they're in. McIntyre, Mathews, Miles, Bryant, Gallighan, Sanford, Moore, Allan, and Cody Smart. So the race lead gets turned over now to the Dustless Blasters Toyota Camry of Emmanuel Hartnett, trying to pick up his 2nd win of his career here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 3 laps to go when they hit the stripe. There's still a number of drivers here that could try risking it. One name that I just noticed pop up into the top 10, K Shearer in the 34. I think we can say he's almost technically in a must-win situation. Would he try and risk it? He's going to get eliminated from the playoffs anyway if he doesn't try something. So would he be willing to try and risk it? Hartnett's going to come to pit road. Gilbert, Dylan Young, K Tellier, Fitzwater, J Arndt, McCloud, Lamas, McCrury, and Shearer is going to come to pit road. I think I would have tried risking it if I were him. And I think that's everybody that was left to come to pit road that has hit pit road. So now, this could be the potential battle, not counting wherever Emmanuel Hartnett comes out. This could be the potential battle for the race lead, maybe the race win, between Brandon Gonzales and Dallas McIntosh. McIntosh is going to move on to the next round of 12, regardless of what happens here. But he wants to win this race, so that way he will be tied with Joshua Michaels and Dylan Young. Well, actually, he wouldn't be tied with them, but he would at least have some playoff points in the next stage of the playoffs. The reason I say that they wouldn't be tied is because actually Dylan Young will have 2 extra playoff points heading into the newly reformatted points. Sanford will have 1, and Joshua Michaels will have 1, as Hartnett was able to win the battle off of pit road. So Hartnett out in front. Gonzales cycles in 2nd. Daniel Gilbert cycled to 3rd with Dallas McIntosh in 4th. And it will be 2 to go here as they hit the stripe. Can Hartnett pull it off? If I recall correctly, Emmanuel Hartnett has gone every season but one, season 2, with at least 1 trip to victory lane. He won Indianapolis in season 1, he won Eldora in season 3, and I'm trying to recall where he won last season. Can't pull it in. Brandon Gonzales, though, in danger of being able to battle for the race lead because Daniel Gilbert is now taking a peek to the inside of the 23, heading here into turn 3. That's going to take the pressure for the moment off of Emmanuel Hartnett. Well, will it? Because Gilbert made a very quick pass on Gonzales. McIntosh now going to move to 3rd. White flag will be displayed this time by Hartnett. Going to have to hold off a hard-charging Daniel Gilbert, who is flying down the front straightaway. Big run for the 4 car. He's going to take a peek to the inside. Hartnett going to throw the block, at least for the moment. Gilbert takes a look here in 2. Can he complete the pass on Hartnett by the time they get out of turn number 2? Answer is yes, he can. Daniel Guilbert on the final lap moves to the inside and takes the top position. Can Hartnett get him here in 3 and 4? Closes the gap there in 3. Will he look to the inside in turn 4? He takes a peek. He's there. Had to bail out. He got tight. And Daniel Guilbert is going to hang on. He's going to get his second win of the season. He'll take the checkered flag here today at the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. We never really even talked about Daniel Guilbert all race long, and in the closing stages in the cycle of green flag pit stops, he puts himself to the forefront. And folks, we have gone 3 for 3. The entire first round of the playoffs have been swept by playoff drivers. Michaels at Chicagoland, Young at Bristol, and now Guilbert here at Indianapolis. It's his second win of the season for Daniel Guilbert. First at a non-super speedway, his win earlier on this year coming at FTF. And Daniel Guilbert will now get himself some very valuable bonus points when the second stage playoff format, or point stands I should say, are reformatted. He, along with Charles Sanford and Joshua Michaels and Dylan Young, will be up there in the top 4 seeds of the round of 12. Standings should be official. And of course, the one story we have to follow up is the gap between Alex Drayton and K Shearer. They finished in close proximity to each other, Drayton in 19th, Shearer in 22nd, but it will be enough, the 19th place finish, for Alex Drayton to move on and take the final transfer spot into the round of 12. So officially, I'm almost 100% certain. We'll have to wait for the official results, but I'm almost certain I can say officially that the 4 drivers that have been eliminated from the playoffs here after the first round will be Jessica Shelton, Cole Baker, K Shearer, and Caleb Farrell. Guilbert picks up the win. Hartnett has to settle for second. McIntosh will get third, so he's going to get some valuable stage points here for the finishing result in the podium. Brandon Gonzales so close again. Had a strong car, but could not hold off Emmanuel Hartnett. And they didn't get it done on pit road either. He'll have to settle for a top 5 and 4th. Joshua Michaels going to finish in 5th. Then it was Hudson, Poteet, Dylan Young, K Tellier, and Zachary Fitzwater. Only 4 playoff contenders finished inside of the top 10, and 3 of them basically were locked into the next round. Guilbert with the win today, Michaels with the win at Chicagoland, and Young with the win last week at Bristol. Where'd the rest of our playoff contenders finish? Chris Dodd finished down in 16th place, Alex Drayton in 19th. Charles Sanford was 21st, K Shearer 22nd, Anthony McCrury in 23rd. Trent Dunham got 26th, Garrett Sydnor 27th, Sean Gallighan in 28th. Benjamin Miles was 29th, and that was the last of the playoff contenders to finish on the lead lap. Caleb Farrell finished 3 laps down in the 34th position, and Jessica Shelton, Cole Baker out of the race in 36th and 38th, along with Matt Haas and Tim Walsh, and Johnny Gardner gets credited for 39th. Didn't even get to take the green flag, had a mechanical problem under pacing. But that is going to do it here from Indianapolis. I am pretty certain that the 12 drivers that will move on to contend in the round of 12 will be Joshua Michaels, Dylan Young, Daniel Guilbert, Charles Sanford, Chris Dodd, Benjamin Miles, Sean Galligan, Anthony McCrury, Trent Dunham, Garrett Sydnor, and Alex Drayton, along with Dallas McIntosh. So that's going to be your contenders, I'm pretty certain, for our second round of the chase for the championship. These drivers are going to have to contend with the upcoming round, which includes the dirt track of Oswego, the road course of Lime Rock, and the super speedway of Riki Raceway, to determine who are going to be the Elite 8 to battle in the third round of the chase for the championship. Next week, all 3 series are back, as we will be going dirt track racing at Oswego, It'll be the first elimination race for the trucks. It'll be the first elimination race for the Pizza X Series, and it will be the first race of the second round for the Hersheys Cup Series drivers. So hope you'll tune into that. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race from Indianapolis. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. Daniel Guilbert becomes a two-time winner this season with his second checkered flag of the year, taking the Brickyard 400. We will see you guys next time, as these are your rookie points, your overall points, and your playoff points, your newly reformatted playoff points with your round of 12 drivers heading into next week. Till then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching a production of the NCRA Offline Racing at its best.